Hello everybody, good evening. First off, I would like to apologize for not doing this video in time. I know you're probably thinking, why am I reacting to a video that the game was 2 days ago, but I just have to do it. We've had electricity issue over here, no much lights to put on the lights. But now the light is back on and I can do this. But I had to pay attention to the Arsenal video first before I talk about another club, because I like to mind my business, but it's football, it's a football matter. So it doesn't really care about what club you support. And yeah, that brings me to the video. So it's all about Tottenham, and in this video we're going to look at the Tottenham Crystal Palace match in hindsight, and also talk about what will happen to Tottenham if they get relegated. Now, in the Tottenham game, it started off very smooth, very good lineup. They might argue that why is this person playing this position, why is that person playing this position. I feel like it doesn't matter. If you look at the quality that Tottenham Hotspur has as players, the footballers that they have playing for them, and the quality that Crystal Palace have, you could say that the Tottenham players are slightly better. If it was 2-3 years ago, we'd say they are like times two way better. The quality that they have is way better than Crystal Palace. But I think Crystal Palace has improved over the years. Crystal Palace won the FA Cup last year. Crystal Palace have won Liverpool like 3 times this season. So it does not mean that Crystal Palace are weak. It doesn't mean that Crystal Palace should be looked down on. Because I say that Tottenham should be beating Crystal Palace does not mean that Crystal Palace are stupid. They have very good players. Very, very good players. Despite losing players like Ibrahimovic and Maguire, you can see the way they are playing. Good footballers over there. Ismail Assar is very good. Mateta Ado is injured. De Bruyne is Strand. They have Bernard Johnson. I don't even know why he left Tottenham. I don't even know why Tottenham let him go. He was their best goal scorer as well. Highest goal scorer last season. He scored up to 18 goals and they still let him go. I don't understand. Maybe he was unhappy. I don't know. I shouldn't care, but it just seems odd that Bernard Johnson will go from Nottingham Forest to Tottenham Hotspur, then back to Crystal Palace. It didn't make any sense. They have players like this guy that left Arsenal, Nketiah. Crystal Palace have a lot of players. There's Adam Wharton. You can see his quality. They have very good players. In Crystal Palace. So let's get into the game. It started. Although Crystal Palace was marked offside for one particular goal, I was cancelled. But it didn't affect the game. It didn't affect the game at all. We look at Ashigre giving Dominic Solanke the assist, and Solanke scored. He scored the opening goal. 2 minutes later, Van der Ven. I think Van der Ven is the highlight of this video. What was he thinking? We talk about footballers in the Premier League. We talk about defenders. We talk about fast-paced footballers. Van der Ven is among I think he's the fastest player in the Premier League. I think he's the fastest player, despite he's a defender. He's a centre back. I think he's the fastest player in the Premier League. So I don't know why he will let Ismail Assar get away from him like that. This is just 2 minutes or 3 minutes after Solanke scored the goal. Okay, Solanke scored 34 minutes. Ismail Assar scored 14 minutes, and Mickey Van der Ven was given a yellow card in the 38th minute. So let's say barely 3-4 minutes after the goal that Tottenham Hotspur scored, he did that. He pulled him back. He held his hand, pulled Ismail Assar to the ground, and he was given a red card. This is the second time a Tottenham captain is getting a red card. So, and that was how they gave Ismail Assar a penalty for Crystal Palace, and he scored the goal. But now, let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur is a club that we call them Spursy, although they like to be called Spurs. They don't like to be referred to as Tottenham. Back maybe 15 years ago, we called them Tottenham. But now they want to be called Spurs. And it's a cool name, Spurs. But the reason about the Spurs mentality, where if you look at their former manager, Ange Postecoglou, was angry with them, saying that he wants to win a game. And the players, the fans, want them to lose. The mindset that they have, just so Arsenal will not win the Premier League, and they will let Manchester City beat them, they will lose, so that their rival will not win the Premier League. And it cost them going to the Champions League that season. And that was how they qualified to the Europa League, which they later won after a year. But it's the mindset of the Spurs mentality. The fact that winning is not your culture, winning is not your nature. You go up and down, and you are a club that lives just to oppress another club. Like, what is your goals as a club? It has been shaky. I like Tottenham Hotspur football. I used to like it. I like it during Ange time. Some will say probably because I'm an Arsenal fan, I like seeing them lose. No, during Ange time they played entertaining football. I was entertained. The football was too good. I couldn't resist it. Tottenham Hotspur is the club I like to watch. They have good players, and I like Son. So they still have players, they still have fine players. Although majority of them are injured. So you can say Tottenham Hotspur is doing badly because they are injured. But not for me. Not for me. They are doing badly because they don't have players that love the club Tottenham. They don't have players that identify with the club Tottenham. You look at all the big six clubs, you look at Manchester City, you see players that love Manchester City, that play for the badge, that love it is in their vein. Look at Arsenal, man. Arsenal is the best example. Look at Manchester United. No matter the crisis they are in, there are players that are so proud to play in Manchester United. Look at Chelsea. Man, players that will die for the badge. But in Tottenham Hotspur, the case is different. Players like Romero, Van de Ven, Mickey Van de Ven are people that are supposed to be sticking up for the club. I miss Son, I miss Kulisevsky, I miss Madison. These are players that will play for the badge. Where are they now? Although Richarlison is arguably a player that plays for the badge, although his feet is not injured. Richarlison is one player that I would not like to blame and say he's not loyal. I think he's loyal to Tottenham Hotspur. Richarlison is loyal. But apart from him, we don't really have players in Tottenham Hotspur that are happy to be in that club. I think many of them want out. And Tottenham Hotspur is not a club that is used to this relegation battle. You look at the players, the clubs around them. Although Burnley is going down, Burnley does not have enough quality for the Premier League. Wolves is going down, but we see what Wolves can do. We see how, okay, this is failure. We have already failed. We are going to get relegated, but we are still going to cause chaos till we go by taking points off Arsenal, defeating Aston Villa, defeating Liverpool, even if they lost to Liverpool in the FA Cup. But we saw what it to them in the Premier League. So that is a club that has players that love the club. Now, many Tottenham players are superstars, big names in football. Romero is a World Cup winner. We saw Mickey Van de Ven with his goal line save in the Europa League final against Manchester United. These are good players. We have players that, just that Arsenal is their enemy, but I fancy some of those players for Arsenal. I fancy them. So they're not totally whack. They're not a bad club. They have good players, but they don't have players that love to play for them. So let's just go and talk about what will happen to Tottenham Hotspur if they get relegated. Because that's the news. If they get relegated, what's going to happen to them? When they have lost 3 games in a row, is it fair to say they should sack Igor Tudor? I don't think so. I think if they go down, but they have already laid their bed, let them lie in it. It's possible that he could turn things around. I don't think he's a bad manager. I don't think Thomas Frank is a bad manager. I think Tottenham Hotspur is a club that will stain your white. It will stain your CV. And to make a very good manager look bad. And we saw Mickey Van de Ven when Igor Tudor was telling him to run and he refused to run. He declined. He ignored his manager. So now that he's out of the team because of the red card, Christian Murray is out. He has a 4-match ban. So maybe he has himself to. I hope he can keep staying out of the team. The quality is not there, and the players with the quality are injured. So I don't have players that love the club. So I shouldn't say they should sack Igor Tudor. They have already made their bed. They should lie in it. But he has lost 3 games in a row in the Premier League. He's going to play in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid, and whoa, Atletico will be ready. So let's talk about what will happen to Tottenham Hotspur if they get relegated. The first one is the huge financial loss. Like in the Premier League, the Premier League pays Premier League clubs between 100 million to 170 million, depending on how much you generate from TV rights, TV revenue, broadcasting deals. So in the Championship, the money they make is often less than 10 million. But I believe Tottenham Hotspur will make more than that because they have been in the Premier League like forever. I believe they'll make more than 10 million, maybe they'll make 30 million or 35 million. I think they will break the bank in the Championship because people will watch it. Although we don't have loyal fans, they don't have fans that can stay in the stadium. We saw what happened. We saw children started were crying. We saw old men angry. We saw people leaving the stadium before halftime in the Crystal Palace game. We saw it. So they don't have that kind of fans that can be in the relegation battle. You see Nottingham Forest relegation battle ready, 2 points off Manchester City. West Ham winning Fulham, ready, war ready. But Tottenham does not have that mindset to fight to stay in the Premier League because they're like, I shouldn't be in this mess. I'm way bigger than this. So that pride, that I know I'm a good player and I'm feeling too good, and I think it's even best maybe the club should get relegated so that they will sell me. They will have no choice to sell me because of the money they will lose. So I've talked about the TV rights. I've talked about players will go if they leave the Premier League. A lot of superstars will leave the club, and I think the players already fancy that. Then another thing is there'll be relegation damage. It will like disrepute the club. There'll be reputation damage. So that big six, I don't think Tottenham can still be called the big six. And if they get relegated, this is the biggest relegation in anybody's lifetime. I think anybody that's less than 50 years old, this is the biggest relegation they will witness in the history of football. For a club who called themselves the big six to get relegated in this way. So yeah, they are going to have tougher competitions because the games in the championship is about 46, and in the Premier League we have 20 teams in the Premier League playing against 19 teams, so about 38 games in the Premier League, and you play 46 in the championship. So there's a lot of more work. So that's what's going to happen to Tottenham. So I think Tottenham can still get themselves out of this mess because I fancy their players, but do they have the will? Do they want to fight? If they go down so that they can know that life is not all about hating on Arsenal, and there are more things to do in this life as a football player. So guys, if you watch this video, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.